Hi all, this is me Akhilesh from SISGST. In this video, we are going to talk about UART. In this era of AI, machine learning and cloud computing, understanding UART is a basic skill because the AI is not only limited to software nowadays, but it is moving out of the cloud into localized hardware devices. And understanding UART is really a superpower. So guys, stay tuned in for the video.
It's an introduction video about UART for many people who are not aware about how a computer or CPU communicates with other peripherals or devices. We use it in our day-to-day life, but little we know how they communicate. Now let us talk about what is UART. I don't want to sound much technical, but talking to the outside world is very hard for the computers. A CPU will always keep looking for new signals if it was handed over the role of communication. So, to handle the serial data communication, UART comes into the play. UART stands for Universal Asynchronous Receiver and Transmitter. It is like a chip that handles all work of controlling communication going in and out. UART is useful for communication to microcontroller, computer, other FPGA. Now there are two types. Okay, for saying there are two types. One is asynchronous and another one is synchronous. For asynchronous data transfer, as we can see, it does not require clock signal. It is used when we need a more framed structure of data, but we cannot transmit more data compared to synchronous using a synchronous method of communication. So what difference does the synchronous make? Let's see. In synchronous, it is accompanied with a clock signal which acts as a stopwatch which decides when to start and when to stop, and the data is transferred accordingly. So for bulk data, synchronous data transfer method is used. Moving on, let us see how finally the microcontroller and a host PC communicate using this UART method. So as we can see on our left, we have a microcontroller, and on our right there is a host PC. So between them, the transmitter of the UART of the microcontroller is connected with the receiver of the UART of the PC, and vice versa. The transmitter of PC is connected with the receiver of the microcontroller. Here we can see how the data is transmitted. Now UART actually supports full duplex, simplex and half duplex. What are these? Full duplex means, like we can see, transmitting and receiving happens simultaneously. And in half duplex, either through a channel it can be transmitted or received, but it cannot happen simultaneously. And in simplex method, it is like a walkie-talkie where only receiving or transmitting take place. Neither of them happens together or in the same channel. Moving on, let us discuss the parameters which decide how the communication should take place. First one we have, and the most important one, is the baud rate. The baud rate is nothing but the rate of bits per second. For transmission between your microcontroller and the PC, both of the UART's baud rate should be same. Next one is the number of data bits transmitted in one cycle. 7 or 8 data bits are transmitted accompanied with parity bit. So in total there are 9 data bits which are transmitted. So let us see actually how the data is communicated. So the symbol will always at the start be high, then it goes low for some time, and then again it returns to the same state, indicating a bit has been transferred. Now how long it stays low depends totally upon the baud rate. One is to indicate high voltage when the system is idle, and 0 is to indicate the low voltage when a data is being transmitted. Now moving on, let us understand another two important terms required for the UART communication. First is TTL. TTL stands for transistor to transistor logic. In transistor to transistor logic, it is a type of logic gate that uses 0 to be defined, 0 volt as defined as 0 logic, and a threshold voltage is defined for logic 1. And RS232 is nothing but a protocol that defines how to send and receive serial data. It also has a logic 0 for 3 to 25 volt range and a logic 1 for -3 to -25 volt range. These are the accompanying things used for serial data communication. Here is the layout diagram indicating how these pins are connected with the transmitter receiver. As we can see, the transmitter of one is connected with the receiver of another, and the receiver of another thing is connected with the transmitter of one. So this totally sums up the transmitting and receiving of data. Now coming to the registers, these are the UART registers which decide how the data is communicated. Now we saw by which method it is communicated. Now we are saying how and what are the deciding factors through which data is communicated. So the first one is the power control register. Second one is the SCON, which is serial control register, which is a 8-bit register for configuring it. Now the next one is the timer control register, which is used for baud rate generation, and another one is the TMOD, the timer mode control generator for baud rate. Then the last one is SBUF, serial buffer, which holds the data to be transmitted and received. Now these are all the technical terms. To explain in layman terms, consider UART as a postman. The postman checks for the mail in the mailbox, and if there is any mail present, he takes it and delivers to the desired address. Now, the mailbox is nothing but your SBUF. SBUF is your mailbox. It only contains the data. Now the UART takes the data and through PCON decides the speed at which the data must be transferred. And SCON is nothing but it is the brain of the UART which decides the layout or the path through which our mail, that is our data, is to be transmitted. TCON and TMOD are nothing but they are acting like stopwatches which actually measures the duration taken to deliver the data or the mail to the desired address. Now through this layman terms, now we totally understand how the UART communicates. In the next part, let us learn more about SPI communication. Thank you guys. Have a nice day.